What's happening? It is two, and just so everything works a little bit faster for me, I'm closing out all of the tabs that I have on here because I'm one of those people that has 18 tabs open right now. So, anyways, enough about that. I hope everybody is doing good. We are 17 days away from nationals. So, tonight's topic is how to show up and arrive ready. And why this is so important is because a lot of people have really great preps. We've been training a long time, at minimum 8 weeks, but for some of us, maybe 12, maybe several months, maybe a year or so. So we want to make sure that all of our efforts are going into the right places as we get closer to competition. So I'm going to give this about, a minute, and then we're going to jump in. So kind of an overview. And while we're going through this, I do want you to know in the description of this video is a little handout so you can get a copy, guide along, maybe make some notes if you want to follow along or just review for your own good. So that's in the description down below. So, all right, I'm ready to get going. I'm not going to wait. You can always go back and replay if you missed anything. But anyways, here we are. How to arrive ready. Once again, this is all about showing up so that all of our effort that we've had up to this point is not wasted and maximized, right? So we're going to start weeks out. We're about 17 days out, a little over 2 weeks. So here are the things that you should be doing now. Number one is I'm just going to put focused energy. Focused energy. Heck yeah. Okay, so what is focused energy? Focused energy is putting your attention and just your energy and emotion where it should be going. We should be excited about this competition. You know what we shouldn't be doing? Giving a damn about what anybody else is doing, right? This is one of the most common things that people do that's just complete waste of energy is to spend time looking through Iron Podium and then looking on Instagram. Oh, what's this person doing in training? Or, oh, what is that person doing in training? Or, oh, wow, that person is so strong. I don't know how I'm going to do against them. Guess what? It doesn't matter, and it's just a waste of time. I have another video on my channel that says, F your competition, but love and respect them. And that is how I would encourage approaching this is F them. They don't matter. We love them and we respect them and we want them to be our best, but they're not controlling how you show up. They have no impact on how good or bad that you do. And many times you may spend your energy worrying about somebody else and you may not know that they're masking an injury. They're not showing all of the lowlights and mistakes that they're making in training. This person could show up and completely have the worst day of their entire life. So I really recommend do not put any wasted energy into what other people in your class are going to be doing. Because again, they could be coming in 110%. There's somebody who on paper should win and blow every competition away, but then they get sick or they roll their ankle on the first event. And then if that happens, all that time and energy that you spent thinking about them is for nothing. So instead, what we're going to do is control the controllables. Now, since we're so close to competition, now is the time, if you have not been doing so already, to lock in on discipline. Okay, and here is why. Every little thing that we can do is going to improve our performance. And here's the thing, I just run up at the top here. Don't be perfect, just get better. You may be at the point in time where you're looking back and you're thinking, man, I wish I put more effort into my sleep every night. Or man, I wish I did more recovery activities. Or, there's all sorts of shoulda, coulda, woulda. But the reality is that's in the past. And since we are now on a pretty short timeline, we're going to be able to have a little more motivation to apply ourselves to get into bed earlier, drinking our water, getting our steps in, maybe doing some extra stretching, right? So these are the things we need to be paying attention to as we get close. And if you can't focus in for 17 days, then maybe this is just not that important to you. You need to be telling yourself, this is such a small window of time, and every little thing that I can do from here on out is going to allow me to show up harder and harder and harder. Now, again, this is all about finishing strong, not starting strong. There's a lot of people that began their prep for nationals in the best possible place. Everything was cooking, firing on all cylinders, but then they lose steam and lose momentum. We want to be the opposite. We want people who are building some exponential momentum going into our very best, most competitive self. And if you have been having just okay of a time up to this point in your training and prep, that's okay, because now we can hit the gas. Now we can show up with good positive momentum and discipline that's going to allow us to build confidence that over these last 2.5 weeks, we've been checking all the boxes. We've done what we can do, and now it's just time to leave it all out on the floor, have fun, and be excited. Matt Anderson says, from this prep, recovery has been vital. Almost every competitor going in that I've spoken to is a little roughed up. Right, so now's the time to get on top of your recovery, maybe get that extra massage, get your chiropractic adjustment, and show up better and healthier than everybody else. Okay, now let's also talk about a very important one, which it's not too late to implement. Now, this is visualization. We want to visualize our effort and emotion and feeling that we're going to have at nationals. We do not want to think about what place we're going to finish whatsoever. Why is that? When we focus on these outcome goals, which is I'm going to get first, I'm going to podium, there's so many external factors at play that you have zero control over. So let's keep thinking about control the controllables. Right by my head. Control the controllables, right? When we think instead in terms of effort and emotion and the feeling of things like pride of how hard we have pushed and how strong we perform, then we are going to show up in that emotion on game day. So think about what ultimately you want out of this competition. You want to show up knowing you did your absolute best. So that is what's going to actually give you the chance and the opportunity to do your best, to rise above, to get into this flow state, to know that we're going to leave it all out on the floor and we're going to be proud of our performance. And then also when we're looking forward to this feeling of I'm so proud of how I'm going to do at nationals, it's going to allow you to show up to those daily disciplines more and more and more, because you're going to be living in that feeling of pride of your work and your journey. So start visualizing everything you can about these events, even if it's just 5 minutes 3 times a week. But what I really recommend is to do this at night before you lay down to sleep, because then it gets into your subconscious and it just becomes part of your wired mechanism of existence. But what we want to do is think about how this log feels, how it's going to look when you hit a successful rep, how it's going to feel when you run really fast with the yoke and the frame, and how you're going to rep out those frame deadlifts, and how you're going to throw those sandbags, and how you're going to feel after a successful rep. Get that, for me, I like the fist pump. I see myself going for that. Boom, yes, heck yeah. So how do I achieve that feeling? Is by showing up, doing my daily disciplines, staying in a positive state, and just allowing it to happen, okay? Now, let's actually talk about this timeline as we're getting close. So in the week leading up to nationals, we're going to have some travel times, right? It doesn't matter. Somebody will all be coming in, week days before, who knows? What you need to be thinking of is consider your travel plans. Are you flying in? Are you driving in? Do you have a rental car? Are you cutting weight? Whatever it is, just really be thorough about all of the things that need to go in your bag. When I travel for my competitions, I pack a scale that is reliable because I need to know as I'm cutting weight if I'm going to make it or not. I can't leave it up to chance at whatever gym that I go to, if they even have a scale, that it's going to be reliable for me at weigh-ins. So my scale does get packed in my checked bags every time. If you need supplements, you need to pack those supplements. If they're going through TSA, if they're in your carry-on bag, they need to be in Ziploc bags according to regulation. According to regulations. And I also recommend writing with Sharpie on the bag what it is so that they know and they'll just brush you right along. They don't think it's drugs. Do you need extra underwear? Do you need extra socks? Do you need extra shirts? Think about all the shoes that you're going to need. You should just be double, triple checking everything so that you do not show up shorthanded. Now, with considerations to how you're traveling and what you're doing, if you're driving, you might have the luxury to pack some extra bags. You may be able to load up your cooler, your camping chairs, and all those other things that you typically want at the competition venue. But if not, if you traveled out there, last year for nationals, I went from Florida to Denver. I wanted a cooler. I wanted a camping chair. I wanted to make sure that I had a comfortable seat wherever I was set up. So what did I do? I went to Walmart. I got a $5 cooler and an $8 camping chair, and I was set for the weekend. So $13 just to have comfort, perfect deal in my opinion, worth every cent. Because you cannot be sure if there are going to be chairs there for you. They may say, yes, there will be, but I'm personally somebody who's not taking that chance. Okay, so go to Walmart, get all that stuff, and now is the time that you should be figuring out if you're staying at this hotel or if you're at an Airbnb, if you have a rental car, if you have your car, start plotting all of these things around you that you may need. Now, you could be a very simple person who everything that you need, you're just going to eat at the hotel. All you need is a microwave. That's fine. But if you're somebody else who likes to prep your own foods, like I do not stay at a normal hotel because I want a kitchen. I want to be able to cook my foods. I want control over that. So if an Airbnb is not available, I'll get, a suite, a comfort suites or something like that with one of those kitchenettes so that I can cook foods, so that I do have like a full-size fridge just because I want that control. Now with that, I always like Aldi. That's one grocery store that is almost everywhere. But if not, again, there's Walmart. So I start plotting out wherever I'm going. Here's where I'm going to go get groceries. If that place is not open, here's option B and C. So just start lining these things up now so there's no guesses and you can save a whole lot of mental energy when you're in town to stay low profile, to manage your stress, and keep your energy and focus on where it needs to go. Right? Now, this also includes knowing where your saunas are if you're going to weight cut. No sauna. Okay? Very important on this. If you are somebody who's weight cutting and needs a sauna, you should be calling these places and getting your list going right now, because it could say that they have a sauna online right now, but they might not allow guest passes, or the sauna is currently being fixed, or who knows. There's all sorts of reasons why it may not be ready and reliable right now. So just do a little bit of homework, do your due diligence, and get your list ready to go. I usually have 3 or 4 options lined up, no matter how far they are, for a sauna, just in case option 1, 2, 3 don't work. And then even in worst case scenarios, I'm going to make sure that I can either bring or have access or acquire sweats and long sleeves to sweat out even harder. So at OSG Regionals last year, I actually did find a sauna that was too hot and I couldn't sit in it because it was like 195, almost 200 degrees. And I was really, really dehydrated at that point, but I couldn't stay in there long enough to get a workable sweat going because I thought I probably would have died if I stayed in there for 10 to 12 minutes. So what I did instead as my backup option was get sweats and go for a walk outside. That did the job. So you need to have these things lined up. It could also be a scalding hot bath for you. I personally can't stand that, but just know now what you need. If you're traveling and cutting weight and you're doing your water loading protocol, make sure you have enough time so that you can stop and pee when you need to, okay? I also recommend in this travel week or in these days before is to maintain your routine. So this is, steps, activities. I'm going to put stress as well because we want to be as routine as possible. Our bodies are in a homeostasis where it wants to keep operating at the exact same level. This is why in anything, long-term change takes time because it takes a whole lot of effort and momentum to overcome that homeostasis. But we want to stay in that when we have prepped our bodies to put on a show at something like a strongman competition. So if you're somebody that gets 10,000 steps a day, and that's what's been a part of your training going into this competition, you need to make sure, regardless of what's going on, that you are maintaining that fitness level, right? That's what's helping your body get blood through your whole body, head to toe, to keep your joints healthy, to keep you not stiff and loose and mobile. It's nutrient delivery from your foods. There's all sorts of things that's working in a positive way for you that you have to maintain. Now, this also includes your stress management. So obviously we're going into a pretty big event. So it could be easy to, get tense and get nervous. But what do you do in your day-to-day that allows you to have low levels of stress? Remember, we're talking about focusing our energy in the right places so that we can put it into our performance. If you just sweat and worry about the future and worry about what could happen or go wrong at nationals, that's doing you no good and it's taking away from your ability to charge your batteries and show up at your best possible place and state at competition. So if you meditate or go for walks in nature or you have some sort of routine that you like to keep your stress low, activate it. And also, don't give in to additional stress. I don't need to tell you there's lots of stuff going on in the world right now, as there is at any point in time. All it takes is for you to start scrolling around through different people's stories. This person's upset about this, that person's upset about that. It's very easy for any of us to fall into the trap of, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening here. Oh my gosh, can you believe what blank said about blank? Like, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter for you or your performance or any of that stuff. And it drives me crazy. I have some of my own clients that, are constantly posting about this and this and this. And I love them to death, but I've had to completely unfollow and check out with them on social media because I want to strangle them because they're not making progress because they are putting their energy into the wrong damn things. We could go on and on and on and on about that. I obviously feel very passionate about this, but even if you're somebody who does care about these things, that's fine. You can be whatever you're into, but now is not the time to waste your energy on that. We've put so much effort, time, money, energy, and focus into a competition like nationals that this is the last time that you should be ever letting anything take away your energy. If you just give a crap about this, you're going to make sure that everything you can do in a calm way is supporting you going towards your goals, okay? A lot of anxiety comes from knowing that you could have done things differently. Now, going with, once again, discipline. Discipline is a confidence booster and an anxiety killer, okay? So we need to have systems in place that allows us to show up and know that we are applying ourselves at the hardest level, while also finding this balance of we don't have to be perfect. We just have to continue to get better. All right. So find that balance and manage your stress. Now, when we are actually showing up for weigh-in day, I'm going to talk specifically about, those that have to cut water and cut weight, right? Show up early. Okay? Show up early. When we are cutting weight, I think you need to make a plan. First off, you shouldn't be cutting all of this weight off at once, no matter if you have a lot to do or just a little bit. We want to get as close to that weigh-in window as possible at our heaviest. So what I mean by that is let's try to get all of that weight off as close to your weigh-in as you can. So when we're weeks out, another thing we can control now is our sleep quality. Every little bit of sleep that's better now is just going to get you better and better and better on game day at competition. But also in that week buildup, we need to prioritize that good sleep even more, especially if you are somebody who's cutting weight. If we have a 10 a.m. Friday weigh-in, we cut all of our weight. Let's say you're somebody like me who has done 15 to 20 pound weight cuts before. If you cut all of that off on Thursday, you're not going to sleep at all Friday night, and you're going to feel like shit Friday and just be playing catch up all day Friday and Saturday, and you won't be at your best. So you need to make sure that you are finding, again, it's all about finding this balance of sleep, energy, and also sweating and getting all this crap out of you. But what I would recommend is stay a little heavier Thursday. Give yourselves a few pounds. Ensure that you're getting a good night's sleep on Thursday, and then get up a little early on Friday so you have extra time to strip all that weight off. If I have a 10 a.m. weigh-in, in a perfect world, what I like to do is sit somewhere around 179, 180. When I wake up in the morning on Friday, I'll go do my sauna rounds for about an hour or so, maybe an hour and a half. I'll have my scale with me at whatever gym I go to so I can monitor very closely and very precisely where I'm at. And then I will go at about 9 o'clock or sometimes earlier. I'm doing OSG again. I'm showing up at 8 a.m., son, for this one just so I can get in, weigh in immediately, and then start rehydrating as quickly as possible. You have to consider whether you're weighing in or not, there are going to be 500 or 600 people at nationals. Many times, they allow in only a couple people at once because they only have so many scales. If they have 10 scales and they can run it like clockwork, there's still 60 rounds of people that they have to go through. So I would rather personally get there early, wait in line a little bit before anything even starts, but then I'm at the front of the line so I can start rehydrating as quickly as possible. And let me tell you, if you show up right at 10 a.m., that's usually when the longest wait is, because that's when everybody else who's unprepared doing this amateur nonsense, no offense, but some people just don't know any better. That's when they're showing up because they say, oh, weigh-in started at 10, I'm going to show up at 10. Well, guess what? So is 400 other people. So if you show up at 8:30 or 9, you'll be at the front of the line, and then you get to weigh in at 10 and start rehydrating immediately. Matt Anderson was one of the very first people in line. Well, there wasn't even a line, but he's one of the very first people to come weigh in at World's Strongest Manatee. Pro move. All right, I see you, dog. Anyways, show up early. And now I also think you need to show up early on comp day. Now, don't stress about being there like super, super early. Again, we're all finding the balance of energy management, like being in a good pace and good mental attitude. But I think when you're there Friday for check-in and weigh-in, you should scope out the venue if possible and get an idea of where and how you want to set your stuff up the next day. Once again, 500 to 600 people. So I think you should get there early on comp day and set up your stuff exactly where you need to be. I mean, for me, I like to be somewhat close to a wall. I don't want to be sitting in the middle. want to be off to the side so I can kind of be incognito and just like chill and out of the fray of anything. I don't want to be sitting by any door where there's a million people going in and out constantly. It's just too much energy. I don't just want to get caught in that. I just want to be in my own zone over there. So I do my best to get somewhere where I can set up just kind of away from other people. Now, this could be a huge area and this might not be a problem, but you should just, again, plan ahead that in order to have your best possible day, you should do all the things that you want and can control at all times. If you are showing up, competition starts at 9 and you show up at 8:55, you're not going to get a very good spot of where you're going to set your stuff. So you just have to think about these things, and it's just a little layer of like, oh, I got to be all the way over here, or like, oh, this isn't ideal, or like whatever. Flip it to the opposite. You get to be exactly where you want. You get to set your stuff up how you want. You get to be in routine, and you're just setting yourself up for success. So we're just preparing now to give ourselves the best opportunity to do great. Now, with this stuff in the days leading up to competition, the night before competition, you need to be preparing your foods, okay? You need to have a soft game plan of when during this day you're going to eat, what you're going to eat, and also when you're going to warm up. But you should not be completely married to these options because this competition could run at a completely different pace than you expect. So this could run really, really quick. I think at Nationals last year, the 198 class, they were done with all of their events, I really think, in about 5 hours. Excuse me. So if that's how quick your class is running, you'd have no problem if you had a whole bunch of gummy bears, if you had a whole bunch of fruits and easily digestible carbs that you could just keep eating that didn't upset your stomach, and you could just move right along and keep killing it. However, you may fare a little bit better on the other end if you were prepared with a full, slower digesting, more complex carb food, something like rice. If, God forbid, you get to a situation where you have 3 hours in between events. That's what I would want. I'd want to have 3 hours, this and that, whatever. But this is all, again, about just like having a game plan. Like, think about all these different scenarios that you could be in and plan for it. And as I said earlier, like, go get a cooler if you're not driving and you don't have one. They are $8 and $5 even at Walmart. A camping chair is, again, less than $10. Or just go get one of those styrofoam ones from the gas station. Like, no big deal. There's all these things that you can do that are going to set you up for success. And I don't understand why other people don't do this. So as always, this is a reminder, if you've listened to any of these seminars that I have done so far, I always talk about the food choices that you're making need to be easily digestible. Okay, they need to be stuff that agree with your stomach, that are fueling you for success. This is not the time to try some new candy or that new spicy Thai joint that sounds really good down the street. We don't want that. We want to be fueled optimally with things that we know are good for us. So just prepare, okay? Double check all these things when you're leaving and packing your bags. Do you want headphones? Do you need extra headphones? Do you need chargers? Do you need a mobile charger? Just really run through it. Run through all of these situations in your head and identify what you need right now. Don't stress about it. Just be thorough. That's all there is to it, right? And then when we're doing all of these things, again, we're trying to do them without putting too much stress on ourselves. We do this because we are people, and we are telling ourselves and reinforcing this as we do it. We are people who check all boxes. We leave no stones unturned. We show up ready. We also just should be trusting our training at this point in time. All these things we've talked about are things that you can control. And why we're talking about all these things, we have not one time talked about our training programs. And the reason is is that at this point, there's not really too much, there's nothing, as a matter of fact, that you can do in your training that's going to make a gigantic difference on game day. Most of the physical training has been done. As I said earlier, it takes a long time to make long-term physical changes. This is why we do 8-week or longer programs. And if you're smart, you're doing long macro cycles where you have 8 to 12 weeks of this, followed by 8 to 12 weeks of this, and we're structuring it over months and years, because to make those long-term lasting gains and effects, it takes months and years. So none of this is about your training program. With that, you just need to keep showing up, following the protocol, and checking the boxes, doing it with enthusiasm, because you should be proud of your hard work. Whatever's happening with you, however you feel, you've made gains. You've learned things. You've refined technique. Maybe you've gotten more mobile or lost some fat or added muscle mass. There are physical changes that have happened up to this point, and you get to reap the rewards by just continuing to show up. And now is the time we need to focus our energy on all of these little things so we show up ready to go. Every time I do one of these things, I'm telling you guys, you're going to look around at nationals and you're going to say, wow, you know what? This person, I just talked to this person at weigh-ins, they haven't been doing any steps the last 2 days and they're all tired and sore, but they haven't been working out. Why is that? You're like, wow, this person didn't bring any food with them and they're hungry, or this person wants their head, whatever. You're just going to see it. There's people that show up unprepared that have no reason to. It's crazy. So and you should have confidence in yourself. When you show up prepared, you're already giving yourself a major advantage. This is what all of this stuff is about, is these little small details that bump you up bit by bit by bit by bit. Because becoming a great performing strongman in competition, it's more than just your physical capabilities. It's showing up prepared. It's showing up with the right level of focus. It's making sure that your battery is fully charged. It's making sure that you are in this flow state and this confident place where you can put it all out on the line in a positive, productive way. There's a lot of people that are so insanely physically talented, that put in a lot of hard work, that just shit the bed over and over and over. And you will get them every single time by showing up ready, being in a good mental state, and having confidence. So make sure you just show up prepared. Do not waste all the good hard work that you have been doing up to this point by blowing it in the last 2.5 weeks. So that's my presentation tonight. I'm going to leave the floor open for just a minute. If anybody's got some questions for me, I am more than happy to answer. But I hope this was informative. I hope you learned something. If you're here live, we got a few people in here now, or you're just watching the replay. I appreciate it. Don't forget, this is now, the 6th or the 7th national seminar that we have been doing. So it's a lot that you can go back on. There's a lot that you can go learn and rewatch and re-listen to help you succeed. You can always, drop some comments on anything on my channel. You can always reach out to me on Instagram. It's the exact same handle as it is here on YouTube, at Stephen M. Coyne. You can always join the Strongman Club, clubstrongman.com, for more resources on how to become your best, strongest self. So if you got any questions, please fire away. 7 a.m. it is with a book. So here's a question. 600-ish competitors weigh-in start at 9 a.m. What time would you show up to get through before the evening is here? I know they're taking yoke heights and headshots when we weigh in. So if weigh-in start at 9, honestly, I'm going to be getting there like an hour 15 early. That's fine for me. I don't need to be the first in line. But there were people at OSG when weigh-in started at 10 that were there at 8 a.m. that were first in line. OSG was a different beast because there were literally 2 freaking scales at OSG, man. Don't mind me and my smoothie here, by the way. Yeah, Matt, that's tough to say, man. I mean, you just got to make your best educated guess. Also, too, do you have more weight to cut? Are you fine on weight? What do you got to do? I can't give you a direct answer on that, but if it's me, I'm showing up at least an hour early, if not an hour and a half. But if I have more weight to cut, I would make 100% sure that I am going to show up and not miss weight. That's the last thing that I want to do. You know what I mean? But also, too, at Nationals, I sat out in the sun for a few minutes before they let us all inside. So I was able to probably cook off a few more pounds last year. Yeah. That's the other thing you got to consider, too, is like the earlier you weigh in, the longer you get to refeed and replenish. So, like, balance game between, how much sleep are you getting the night before? Do you need to wake up early in order to cut more weight? Then you got all the time in the world to refeed after if you're early. So just things to consider, Nice. Game Ostro, competing at 242 weight class. I have about 13 pounds to cut. Thanks for doing these videos. They have really helped me. Gabe, you are welcome, my brother. I have a full weight cut seminar that is on this channel. But if not, if you can't find it, if we're connected, connect with me on Instagram and I'll send it over your way. Then give you some more ins and outs. So 13 pounds. So off the top of my head, 24 is 10%. That means 12 is 5%. That's a 6% weight cut. That's totally achievable. Man, I mean, that's not, I really in general recommend cut as little as possible, but 6% is not that much at 242. So you should be okay. But I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the comment, dude. I hope that this helps you. I wish you the best. I hope you have a really great, strong performance, man. And again, this is why we talk about some of these concepts now. None of this had anything to do with training because, like, at this point, you can't. There's nothing else that you can do that's going to change your performance with your training program. But how you can influence your performance is visualizing effort, feeling, and emotion, adding a little more discipline, focusing your energy on the things you can control, making sure that you're getting better and not worrying about being perfect. So that's how we, end with momentum. It's okay if you didn't start perfectly, but we can finish pretty dang strong. Just hoping to not zero in any events. Haha, my first national. Sweet, brother. Hey, man, there's also there's no shame in zeroing anything. I'm not saying you're going to, but I've zeroed plenty of things, bro. I've zeroed plenty of things. I've missed lifts. And you have to remember that when we set our sights really high, I think if I remember correctly, what's the log weight for 242? Is that it's like 275, 285? It's pretty high, I think, for 242. You're so much more motivated to push your training harder and harder when you have a higher goal, right? This is why people who do novice over and over again suck and never make gains. It's because they're having such a low bar that they don't really have to apply themselves very hard. So even if you have something you're going into where you're like, shit, I might zero, guess what? Your sights are still really high and you're forcing yourself to adapt to a higher level. Plus, you get to hang out and network and be around many high-level competitors that are going to teach you things. You'll be able to maybe train with them someday or just have new friends in the sport. Like, the positive of that is so big that, like, I commend you for going for it, even though you think you might zero some things. There's so many good things that are coming out of this that you just would not have had if you weren't doing it. We all know these people who do novice over and over and over and over again. And like, that is pathetic, honestly. And I say it with love because I want people to get better, dude. I want them to improve and get stronger. But if your sights are low, so will your performance be. But instead, let's run into these things head first, man. Gabe, if I was going to really give you some more advice here, just based on your questions, first nationals or anybody else that this is your first one, use this, visualization with effort and emotion. I want you to now start tapping in your training right now, and then also just thinking about what this event is going to feel like. I want you to be and feel it. Feel proud of the effort that you're putting forward, and I guarantee you, whatever sort of performance you get, however many reps you get, you're going to come out of that day feeling like a fucking winner, and you will have big wins. You'll have PRs. You will be so much further ahead than you thought possible. But this stuff now, like I said, none of this has anything to do with training program, but it has everything to do with success and how you show up, man. It's been so great to have this event. Real quick, Matt Anderson, if you're still here, how much weight are you cutting for this one, man? Curious. Exactly. Thank you. It's been so great to have this event to train for. It's been worth it. Just that alone. I've done 2 other strongman events before, but don't have the implements, dude. And that's the other part of it too, is like new things, man. Good experience is worth so much. When I am going into competitions, all right, so pause there, Gabe. So Matt Anderson is a 198 and he has 18 pounds to lose. So brother, you can definitely cut 13 to hit 242. Anyways, what I really like to tell myself when I am going into training, and it's the damn truth, bro, is, man, I would kick the crap out of myself last year. There's little things now too, like, dude, I'm looking at myself on this screen as I'm talking to you. I'm watching this video, and like, I love the way my arms look. Like, I love the way I feel. So I get really excited about the fact of whatever happens, I would kick the freaking crap out of Steve 1 year ago today. And if that's how you can go into every single competition, you literally cannot lose. You cannot lose. Trapper King Sean Fenley is in the building, bro. Trapper King Sean Fenley, I tell you this every time I see you, and it's the truth because I want to reinforce it, bro, is you're just a little stronger every time I see you. And that's the scariest person out there. It's not the person that makes, a whole bunch of gains real quick and then plateaus out. It's the person that just keeps coming and coming and coming and coming. And they just make gains and gains and gains and gains and gains and gains forever. That's the type of person that takes it all the way to the top. You cannot be stopped. So I hope all of you get to a point, not just now, you should be there now, but with every single competition, looking back and thinking, man, I've kicked the crap out of myself last time. And that's ultimately what it's about. We want to win. We want to get first. We want these trophies. We want this and that, but none of that actually matters in the long run. What matters and why we do this is so that we are better than ever, and we're setting the tone so that we continue to get better, right? Like, if you show up and get second to last, but you PR every single event, is that a loss? No, it is not, dude. No, it is not. You've gotten better, you have gotten stronger, and you have proved to yourself that you're somebody who is going to continue to do that. So just think about those things, man. There's just so many things. I think people put their energy in the wrong things. That's why the very first thing we talked about was focusing your energy. And I think if you understand that concept and apply it to the highest level, that is the thing that allows you to be the very best in anything. Think about what just happened with Mitch Hooper at World's Strongest Man. This is nothing against Ray Nonell. He was a deserving champion, but look, Mitch Hooper is one of the greatest strongmen to ever walk the planet. He got third place because his energy was not there at all. He could not focus his energy where it needed to be. Even though we only got these little clips and Instagram videos and blah, 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 you could tell from the start, anytime you saw something of Hooper, he wasn't there. He didn't have his energy where it needed to be. I really wonder what would have happened if he did. So think about that. You are no different than anybody else. You and I are no different. Nobody in this chat is any different. Even Confucius, thousands of years ago, said, we are all the same, just different habits. So you can rise to the top. You can separate yourself just by your habits, your discipline, the effort and emotion that you carry, and the energy that you focus and apply it in the right places. So I cannot think of a better way to wrap this up. Guys, if you like this, if you have not done so, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button below, click subscribe. Please go watch all my other videos. Everything that I'm putting out over the last couple of weeks is just, how to get you thinking, acting, and being a winner. So I hope this is all helpful. Thanks for tuning in. Reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, any of that stuff. 17 days out. Let's get after it. Keep training hard. Get good night's sleep. Eat your protein. Hydrate. And stay strong.